There's two issues here. We kind of had the rhetoric right at the beginning of the day, didn't we, from President Trump saying complete destruction. You talk about this damage assessment still obviously ongoing right now. Let's take a listen to the Joint Chiefs of Staff on what he believed has been achieved.
In total, U.S. forces employed approximately 75 precision-guided weapons during this operation. This included, as the President stated last night, 14 30,000-pound GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrators, marking the first ever operational use of this weapon. I know that battle damage is of great interest. Final battle damage will take some time, but initial battle damage assessments indicate that all three sites sustained extremely severe damage and destruction. More than 125 U.S. aircraft participated in this mission, including B-2 stealth bombers.
Let's look at the images that I mentioned a moment ago from Maxar, the satellite company, in the past few hours, the before and after of the strikes at the Fordo site. You can see a main facility building here, and clearly the impact of the strike highlighted probably about 20 metres away from it, and again to the left of the main facility there. It's very hard, clearly. You can see two very deep black spots at the top and bottom of the screen, but again, clearly very hard to read from that. Let's go to Saeed Azimi, our correspondent in Tehran. Saeed, great to have you on the programme this evening. We're hearing from the US that this, in terms of the B-2 bombers, the longest ever distance travelled, I think, up until before 9/11, 18-hour flight. In terms of the damage done and the reaction from the Iranian government, talk us through what you're seeing there today.
Good to speak to you, Kevin. The reactions from the Iranian government, we have covered it a lot today. The Iranian foreign minister said that we will defend our right in any measure, and there was a report that needs to be explained. The initial report said that the Iranian parliament has approved the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, but the decision is with the Supreme National Security Council. Now, I have to clear that up. The Iranian parliament is not the authority to decide here. They cannot approve the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. They don't have any authority in that regard. So in terms of closing the Strait of Hormuz, what happened in the Iranian parliament was that all MPs gathered. They unanimously reached a decision as in a consultative capacity, merely in a consultative capacity, and they conveyed it to the parliament speaker, who is a member of Iran's Supreme National Security Council. Now, the Iranian Supreme National Security Council meeting hasn't been convened yet, so far as I know. The Iranian president is out downtown Tehran in Engelab Square protesting the American strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities with the people in a sort of rallying around the flag effect. And what I'm hearing is that Iran is mad at three countries mostly: Turkey, Russia, and China. Regarding Russia, the Iranian foreign minister has accelerated his trip to Russia. He's leaving Istanbul in an hour or two to get to Moscow. He said he will have serious consultations with Russia's Vladimir Putin and Turkey, because the B-2 bombers came from the Turkish airspace. So Iran feels that the call that President Trump received during the G7 summit from President Recep Tayyip Erdogan was not just about mediating leadership-level talks between Donald Trump and Masoud Pezeshkian. It was probably discussing the realization of the strategic planning of bombing Iran's nuclear sites. And China has been a quiet, silent observer in this conflict, who is now just pushing for a UN resolution on immediate ceasefire in the Middle East, and that Iran thinks is not enough.
We're also hearing from President Pezeshkian. He's been speaking to President Macron today. President Macron urging calm. The president saying that he has the right to react, calling this, as we heard from Abbas Araghchi today, still in Istanbul, the foreign minister in Iran, saying that they've crossed every single red line. Let's just stay with us, say. Let's take a listen to what Abbas Araghchi had to say a few hours ago. I think we can hear from Abbas Araghchi, if the gallery can hear me. Here we go.
The Islamic Republic of Iran condemns in the strongest terms the United States' brutal military aggression against Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities. It is an outrageous, grave, and unprecedented violation of the fundamental principles of the Charter of the United Nations and international law. The warmongering and lawless administration in Washington is solely and fully responsible for the dangerous consequences and far-reaching implications of its act of aggression. While President Trump was elected on a platform of putting an end to America's costly involvement of forever wars in our part of the world, he has betrayed not only Iran by abusing our commitment to diplomacy, but also deceived his own voters by submitting to the wishes of a wanted war criminal who has grown accustomed to exploiting the lives and wealth of American citizens to further the Israeli regime's objectives.
Saeed, you refer to a big decision still being made at the moment, which is the Straits of Hormuz. And just to reinforce just some of the facts about the Straits of Hormuz, 20% of the world's oil goes through there. It's a critical choke point for oil for trade around the globe, and by freight, about 20% of global oil consumption goes through there. So we're talking about 20 million barrels a day. And a big market here, you referred to China before. China is a significant market to which we're seeing Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, saying today to China, to Beijing, to convince Iran that that is not the right step to take. A couple of thoughts from you before we go to Tara in London. Tell us about life in Tehran today.
Gavin, I wasn't able to leave the house today because of the work that I had to do, but I spoke with several people. A couple of my friends actually left to wander around Tehran, and they went to Uptown, and they saw astonishing scenes. I was surprised and taken aback, actually. They went to this very famous shopping mall in the northern part of Tehran, and they saw that people are shopping not to stockpile, just to have their basic needs taken care of. And they were eating pizzas at food courts while their kids were playing in the playground of that certain shopping mall. And I asked around, and they also said that life is very much ongoing, uninterrupted in the northern part of Tehran, with Iranians believing that civilian targets are not a part of the US-Israeli plan, and there were only infrastructural hits.
That's very interesting. Saeed, stay with us. You talk about the Iranian foreign minister as well, claiming we heard the red lines being crossed, and we just heard from Abbas Araghchi, who we now believe is going to Moscow. Given what you've just said there, Saeed,